Joe Giudice claims Rhonj stars were involved with calling feds on him and Teresa. Joe Giudice slams Rhonj stars Melissa and Joe Gorga for allegedly turning him and his ex-wife Teresa Giudice into the FBI for their tax crimes. The drama surrounding who called the FBI on the Real Housewives of New Jersey's Joe and Teresa Giudice continues, as the former is putting blame on Melissa and Joe Gorga for the whole ordeal. The speculation started up again recently when Teresa made the bold accusation during the Rhonj Season 13 reunion that Melissa turned her and her then-husband in. The now former couple was sent to prison, over 3 years for Joe Giudice, and less than 1 year for Teresa, for tax and bank fraud, among other charges. They ended up serving their respective sentences at separate times so that one of the parents could always be with their children. Teresa and Joe Giudice's prison sentences are well behind them now, but the drama surrounding how they got there hasn't ended. Following Teresa's recent comments at the Rhonj Season 13 reunion, Joe Giudice echoed those claims while appearing on the Behind the Velvet Rope podcast. "I think Melissa and Joe were involved in alerting the FBI." He noted that Rhonj's Melissa and Joe Gorga were apparently good friends with his ex-partner's attorneys, which went to the feds. Joe Giudice claims former FBI agent told him about Melissa and Joe Gorga. This alone is a giant accusation to make, but Joe Giudice also alleged that he was told this information from a man who used to work at the FBI. This is why he believes the Gorgas turning them in is a fact. He concluded Melissa and Joe went to the feds to feed them all this information. "Yeah, I might have cheated on some things. My tax returns, who didn't?" During the same podcast discussion, Joe Giudice continuously slammed Melissa and Joe Gorga and claimed that they should be thanking him since they got paid for a Rhonj spin-off called Teresa Checks In, which revolved around Teresa's time behind bars. Aside from the blame game at the heart of this accusation, it appears that Joe Giudice believes someone turning him into the FBI is worse than the actual crime he committed. By saying, "Who didn't?" he's dismissing his tax fraud by insinuating lots of other people do it, so it's therefore not a big deal to him. Considering this matter involves breaking the law, it definitely is a big deal. Obviously, he would love to know who turned him in since it affects him and his whole family. But caring more about the informants than feeling remorse for the crimes that were committed isn't a great position to have. The feud between Teresa and the Gorgas is clearly not ending anytime soon. If anything, the recent Rhonj Season 13 reunion and Joe Giudice's podcast comments prove that things are ramping up even more. Caroline Manzo recently claimed she knows who called the FBI on the Giudices, but refused to divulge any names, so it's left up to those at the center of the scandal to try to fill in the gaps with various allegations. Regardless of whether they're true or not, it's not surprising they're putting the blame on the Gorgas, but it's unclear if the absolute truth will ever come out to either support or refute these allegations.